Hey guys, meteorologist Kaitlin Wright here, giving you an update on Tropical Storm Debby. Hopefully a few of you have been able to join in. I want to bring you the latest kind of positioning of the storm and the latest impacts that we will see here in our area. So this is the latest. Tropical Storm Debby has those maximum sustained winds right now sitting at 60 miles per hour. Debby is still a very slow moving storm. The rain, the flooding are still our primary impacts. So we look at this storm moving to the north at just 3 miles per hour. It is crawling. And you may have seen on social media, on different web pages, that there was some dry air getting wrapped around in Debby. And we certainly saw that overnight. We really had some of that dry air mixing in, kind of looping on the back side of this, which isn't and necessarily not typical for systems like this, but I think that kind of made people to say, oh wow, it's basically done, it's dissipating. That's not the case. The peak daytime heating got a lot more energy involved with this storm, and now this storm still producing a lot of rain. And the problem with tropical systems, why the rain is such a big deal, is because the rain trains over the same area, and that's where we could see that flooding threat. If rainfall rates get upwards of 1 to 3 inches per hour, if a storm is over your area raining for 6 hours at 2 inches per hour, do the math. You guys could see upwards of a foot of rain. Now, I'm not projecting that in our area, just kind of giving you an analogy here. Their wind gusts in the system is 70 miles per hour. We're not going to have to deal with 70 mile per hour winds in our region. Maybe seeing gusts upwards of 35 miles per hour as this storm comes to the closest point of our area, which will be as we head through the day on Thursday. So let's go ahead and look at this track here from the National Hurricane Center. You can see Thursday night, the center of what will likely still be Tropical Storm Debby, just miles away from us, actually pretty close to those in Chesterfield County, and then it'll zoom away once it gets past that Thursday evening time frame. So it'll race out of here, which is really good news that it's not just going to sit over just say areas close to Chesterfield County. It'll get out of here pretty quickly. Let's go ahead and head to that next graphic, and I want to talk about rainfall and those potential impacts for you. Sometimes the graphics are a little bit slow, and I do have Morgan Fogarty here with me again. She'll join me up here, talk about questions. We're actually getting her microphone on right now. So looking at your future track, this is what a lot of people want to know. Yeah, you can come in, say hello to our friends. She's gonna, there's a computer over there so she can look at Facebook Live, and she can look at questions. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'm gonna lay out the timing and the impacts of this storm.
Yes, I will be right over there. I'll yell out the questions.
Yes.
She's gonna do the science.
Okay.
Okay.
So here's future track. This is 3 o'clock in the morning, and we can see this heavier band starting to set up in some of our southeastern counties. So areas like Chesterfield, Lancaster, over through Richmond, Anson County. You guys are going to see the rain start to develop in your area first. Then it's going to spread westward by the morning commute. And I'm going to pause this at 9 a.m. because a lot of people are going to be waking up at 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And you might be in Cleveland County, you might be in Lincolnton and not see any rain right now. By that point in the morning, don't worry, it is going to come. Now, this is 9 a.m. I want to put my finger right here close to Charlotte. So this is 9. Watch when I play this out. And again, this is just a model run. Still seeing heavy rain over that area at 3. I mean, that puts it into perspective. Several hours, say the rainfall rate is just an hour, that could produce flood, or just an inch rather, in an hour, that could produce flooding. And some of these rain bands have produced 2 to 3 inches per hour, which would be awful. Hopefully we don't see that. But if we see that band, we will see that band. Where we see that band set up across the area, those are the areas that could see flooding. So if it sets over for Charlotte, if it sets over Gaston County, or maybe Union County, those areas we'll see that highest risk for flooding. So this is 3 p.m. what radar could potentially look like. We'll play this out. You can see that large counterclockwise spin there. This is 9 p.m. We still have some showers across the area. I think at this point by 9 o'clock in the evening, they'll be pretty light. We'll see that dry air from the northwest side get wrapped into the center of this storm, which should dissipate a lot of that moisture by about 9 or 10 o'clock, even by 8 o'clock, I think. And then the storm races out of here, and look at Friday. I mean, Friday morning when we're waking up, the storm is going to be gone. We could actually have plenty of sunshine as we head through the day Friday and as we head through the week as well. So again, if you're just joining, please ask questions if you have them. Morgan is over there and she will kind of yell out the questions for me. Let's go ahead and head to the next graphic here, looking at our projected rainfall totals. This forecast has been tricky. It has been tricky for local meteorologists. It has been tricky for the National Hurricane Center, for the National Weather Service, just because where's this band setting up? How much dry air gets kind of wrapped around in this system? The science has gotten so good over the last few decades, but it still is not perfect. And also, that's why you have local meteorologists and scientists at the National Hurricane Center, because this is just one model. I can't say, hey, these are the numbers, this is what's going to happen. That's not always the case. This is the short range called graph model. We have a European, the GFS, other models that we look at, and none of them are spot on consistent, showing the exact same totals, because it depends where that rain band is going to set up. What I do think is going to happen, areas east of I-77, I do believe will have the greatest rainfall numbers. It's pretty cut off here, you can see, from possibly anywhere from, I'll say 2 to 6. I know that's a wide range, but 2 to 5 to 2 to 6 east of I-77, and then up to 2 as you head toward the high country, and a little bit less as you head west of I-77. And that's what the flash flood watches pretty much represent and mirror as well. Areas across Burke, Catawba, Avery, Cleveland counties, you guys do not have that flash flood watch. A flash flood watch, meaning in a broad area, flash flooding is possible. When you get the advisory, it's more of a localized area. And when you get that warning, that means flooding is likely happening or about to happen. Let's go ahead and talk weather alerts. This is a tornado watch, not for our area. There have been confirmed tornadoes with this system, which is very normal for tropical systems. I think they've been a little elevated with this one. I think just because the amount of time we've seen that onshore wind bringing us that kind of rotation. Again, it's very normal, not for where we are positioned to the center of the storm. So areas in the northeast quadrant of the center, that's the dirty side of the storm. I was saying the west side is the best side. Areas west of the center, those are the ones that get that dry air and not the onshore flow. And it's a very unstable environment and atmosphere over the water. That's why these rain bands move onshore and can produce those tornadoes. So that's why we have that tornado watch in place through the evening tonight. And I think it could continue overnight into Thursday morning for some of those across the North Carolina coast. For our area, we do not have to worry about that tornado threat. Let's go ahead and look at our local Debby impacts, kind of just looping it all together in a nice bow for you. Heavy rain, especially just because of being on the roads in the commuting hours on I-77, 85, even back roads. Back roads are more prone to flooding than interstates and highways. So heavy rain is that main threat. Please be careful, stay safe out there. The morning commute will be better, I think, than the afternoon and evening commute, but it will still be rough depending on where you are in our viewing area. Flooding, it's going to be an issue. Especially some of those side roads, side streets, areas that are prone to flooding, areas that have poor drainage in those locations. And then we are also looking at winds gusting upwards of 35 miles per hour. I think I'm teetering between isolated and scattered power outages. They will not be widespread, but since our ground is so saturated, if we see several inches of rain and there's a tree that is dying or a tree that is kind of loose in its roots, I do think it could take down some power lines and certainly fall down. So my advice to you is do not park under a tree tonight, and I would not park under a tree all day tomorrow just to protect your car. And that, let's see what else I have. Morgan, do we have any questions?
Michael DeCola would like to know what will it look like in the Marshville area tomorrow.
Okay, so yeah, you know, it's hard for me to pick out city by city. We have 22 counties in our viewing area, so kind of looping in the mountains, the foothills, the Piedmont, southern Piedmont towards Sandhills. That's kind of how I have to do it. So areas in the southwest Piedmont, southeast Piedmont rather, heading toward the Sandhills. You guys are looking at the rain first. That rain is going to start in your area. I'm trying to backtrack this to future track for you. But starting in your area around 2 a.m. and then progressively get worse as you kind of wrap around that moisture to the north and west. So for everybody in our area, prepare for heavy downpours. Isolated flooding is possible, and isolated power outages are possible. That's kind of as straight I can give you the impacts that we're going to see.
Kaitlin, Neftali Lock has a great reminder for everybody to charge your devices tonight.
Yeah, that's a really good reminder. And hopefully you guys can hear her on the mic, but charge your devices. That is a really, really good reminder. If you have not yet, outside of your house, if there's a storm drain, maybe just head out there, make sure that storm drain is clear of any debris. That's really going to help any runoff that we see from this heavy, heavy rain that's going to roll through. For the rivers, we have the PD River at Cheraw. That is forecast to get to major flood stage. Right now it is nowhere close, but it is forecast. So those are areas of Chesterfield County. That's that polygon that we see right there. That is, again, the PD River at Cheraw. We saw massive, major, catastrophic flooding in 2018 with Florence. They've learned a lot down there from that, so hopefully it's not going to be an issue, but I did just want to point out that river. Anything else, Morgan? Morgan is here letting me know if you guys have any questions.
Yeah, I'm joining different groups to let people know that we're here tonight, or that we're here right now live. Kaitlin, what you were just talking about with the PD at Cheraw, how it's measuring right now at 10 feet, it floods at 30, and then what are you forecasting it to reach on Sunday?
Well, they're forecasting the NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. They have people that watch these rivers all the time. They're forecasting upwards above 40 feet. So right now, I believe it's at 10 feet, forecasting 40 feet. And guess what? That's not forecast to happen until Sunday. And this storm's going to be way out of here, but that's what happens with rising river levels and with events like this. It's not just oh, it's raining today and then it's done. It could actually prolong just because of runoff from rain. I was talking to my colleagues in the newsroom about this yesterday. Rain is so different from snow. While the equivalent moisture is much greater when it comes to snow being so compact, it is different because snow doesn't have the runoff that rain does. Eventually it does because snow melts, but it melts at different rates. When you have snow, or when you have rain, that water is not just, you don't just put a ruler in and say 12 feet right here. That's at a perfect level. You know, the earth does not have totally perfect levels. This earth is not perfectly flat to what maybe somebody may have told you. But that's where we get runoff, and that's why events can just prolong for days and days. With the flood threat right now for areas surrounding the PD River at Cheraw, with the flood likely cresting on Sunday, and hopefully that number goes down. But with it cresting on Sunday, that's going to be an issue over the next several days for them.
Kaitlin, Glenn Taylor is wondering if you're expecting power outages or high winds. He's in Salisbury.
Hey, Glenn, in Salisbury there. For your area, I actually think this location by location does matter when it comes to talking winds, because if the center, say it's still a tropical storm, when it's, we'll call it over, I can't pinpoint exactly, I'm just, for the sake of this conversation, say it's over areas like Southern Pines out toward Aberdeen. Well, Salisbury, Concord, Albemarle, Wadesboro, you guys are closer to the center of tropical systems, have stronger storms, or stronger winds rather. So you guys could see winds, I would say maybe gust up to 40 to 45 miles per hour. That's gust. That is not sustained winds. I'm not talking about bridge closures or anything like that. I think overall for the entire area, I'm going about 25 to maybe 30, maybe 35 mile per hour gusts, which will lead to some isolated power outages across the area, but I don't think those are going to be widespread.
Glenn says, "Thank you, Kaitlin."
You're
Jordan
welcome, Glenn.
Fail,
Hello.
this is a good comment for you to talk more about, Kaitlin. Jordan Fail says, "I'm already preparing for drivers on 485 to go slowly with their flashers on."
Yes, and that is so. First of all, flashers are supposed to be used in hazard situations, not for rain. That's a whole different conversation. I'm no expert, so I'm not even going to go there. But 485, we have so many roads, Morgan. You have been here forever. I lived here when 485 was being built. I'm from the Cornelius area, and 485, you can hydroplane quickly on that road and on a lot of roads across the area. So definitely take it slow. Be very, very careful out on the roads tomorrow. This is also a point I want to make. There have been 5 fatalities related to Hurricane, then Tropical Storm Debby, 4 of them in Florida, 1 in Georgia. The one in Georgia, a 19-year-old, a tree fell on his home. So sad. There were another tree fell on a home, killing another teenage boy down near the Big Bend area where it made landfall of Florida. And then the other ones were vehicle related, either car accidents or oftentimes, not in this case with this storm, but vehicles being submerged in floodwaters. So a lot of times deaths from tropical systems happen either due to flooding, of course, or vehicle accidents. So just please be careful out there. Anything else?
Not at the moment.
Good. I hope that's good that you guys don't have questions. I hope I'm answering everything, but please ask me anything you guys want. I'm going to stay on for just a little bit longer, just in case you guys do. We actually have a meteorology major in here with us. He is a part of our production staff. Did I miss anything, do you think? No, pretty much covered everything. I think so. Yeah, talking about the track, I'm just making sure.
Is there any chance the storm could strengthen more?
I don't think it's going to strengthen more. I don't think a hurricane is in the question at this point. Strengthening or not, though, it doesn't change the impacts. It doesn't change the fact that we're going to have rain bands that could just sit over the same area and cause a risk for flooding. I don't anticipate it to strengthen much more, though.
And you think it's going to move out pretty quickly and we could have a nice weekend on deck?
Yeah, I think we're going to have a really nice weekend. I even think Friday's going to be pretty nice. It's crazy. We've been tracking this storm for over a week now, but of course this week really focusing on the impacts it'll bring us. And tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow's the Super Bowl of day for Tropical Storm Debby in our area. And then it'll be out of here, which is so wonderful because we're not going to see it just stall out of our area and bring relentless rain. But again, a day of heavy pockets of rain is substantial. In a month, we see 4 to 5 inches in a good month for rainfall. We could see that tomorrow in a 6 to 7 hour period. So just kind of putting that into perspective, that's a lot of rain for us to handle in our grounds and our sewer systems to handle.
This is a looking forward question, Kaitlin, but is there anything in the tropics now that you're keeping an eye on?
Yeah, that's a good question. Is there anything in the tropics I'm keeping an eye on right now? There is. There's an area of low pressure down that's forecast to head into the Caribbean. Right now it does look like this could head toward the Yucatan Peninsula, but of course I'll keep my eye on it. It's not a concern or a threat to the Carolinas at any time soon. Good question.
And Kaitlin, if people, we've been on now for about 15 minutes, if people have questions after we leave the live part, they can still go into the comment section and comment, and you'll go back and answer those?
Yeah, of course. I'll come back and answer any questions if you're like, oh wait, I do have a question. Power your devices, that was good. Check your storm drains, make sure those are clear. And just to prepare for a nasty day tomorrow. We're gonna be much cooler. Highs are gonna be in the likely upper 70s due to the cloud cover and due to the rain of this system. And it's just gonna be pretty nasty until it gets out of here. We'll see a second landfall likely overnight. I'm thinking somewhere around Georgetown County there in South Carolina, and then it starts to pick up speed. You know, thankfully, we look at that movement of the storm moving to the north at 3 miles per hour. It's finally going to start to pick up some strength, and watch what happens by Thursday night. Whew, it just completely races out of here, which is great. And so that's going to attribute to us having a really nice weekend. It'll be warm, but it's going to be nice. We'll take the warmth over tropical systems. We good, Morgan?
Yeah, you've been live now, Kaitlin, for about 19 minutes.
Okay.
So if you, like we said, if you have any remaining questions or if something pops up that you forgot to ask Kaitlin, please join us in the comments.
Yeah, please join us in the comments. And until then, we will see you tonight for the news at 10 o'clock. You guys stay safe out there.